Picture this. She walked off that court in Toronto broken, exhausted, and deeply defeated. 7 straight wins vanished into thin air, just like that. Realistically, almost any other player would have quietly packed their bags, caught the next flight out, checked into a hotel room, and completely hidden from the world to lick their wounds. But Alex Eala? She decided to get a fresh haircut, filed her nails, and showed up in Cincinnati like she owned the entire place before she even stepped foot on a practice court. The moment she crossed the gates of the Lindner Family Tennis Center, the building didn't just welcome her, it shook. This wasn't some polite, country club applause or a warm, quiet greeting. We are talking about the kind of deafening eruption you only witness when a beloved champion finally comes home after a long war. Except she hadn't played a single point yet. Not one serve, not one rally. The vibrant Filipino flags that had turned Toronto's Sobeys Stadium into an overwhelming sea of red, white, and blue had literally followed her across the international border. The exact same roaring chants that once bounced off Canadian concrete were now echoing against Ohio walls. Cincinnati had never witnessed anything remotely like this before, and every single person inside that complex knew it. Tournament director Carl Hale had already stated it loud and clear back in Toronto. Alex is an absolute blessing to this sport. Now, Cincinnati was about to discover firsthand exactly what he meant. The phenomenon that had completely stunned tournament directors in Washington and Toronto had officially crossed state lines, and the entire tennis world was locked in. Let us rewind for a moment, because the brutal, grueling journey that brought her to Cincinnati is just as powerful as her triumphant arrival. 8 matches in 12 compressed days, bouncing relentlessly from Washington to Toronto back-to-back, with barely enough time to catch a breath or ice a sore shoulder. By the time she squared off against Belinda Bencic in the round of 16 at the Canadian Open, her gas tank was reading completely on empty. The final scoreline of 6-4, 6-0 told the raw, unfiltered truth. That incredible 7-match winning streak was finally snapped. The sheer physical and mental exhaustion of grinding through 5 matches in Washington, right into 3 more in Toronto, had caught up with her body all at once, leaving nothing left in reserve. She sat in the post-season press conference with heavy, tired eyes, offering brutally honest words to the media. Right now, there's just a little bit of tiredness and disappointment. But I'm healthy, and I'm counting my blessings. And then came the sentence that brought the entire room to a sudden, breathless halt. I'm taking every lesson from these 2 weeks and implementing them better in Cincinnati and New York. That wasn't standard corporate damage control or a cheap press conference soundbite. That was a bold, unshakable declaration from a ferocious competitor whose eyes were already locked onto the next horizon. Following the emotional toll of Toronto, she did something remarkably radical for a rising star in the middle of a career-defining breakout season. She did absolutely nothing. 2 full days away from the grind. No tennis court, no heavy racket, no late-night match footage breakdown. She even laughed about it herself during a presser later, smiling as she admitted, "I need a haircut. I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. My nails are grown out." The press room laughed right along with her, and in that single, beautifully human moment, all the suffocating pressure, the shifting rankings, the crushing weight of an entire nation on her back, and the expectations of a global diaspora simply lifted, even if it was just for a fleeting second. She took the time to explore Toronto, catch up with close friends, and let her mind finally breathe, wander, and truly rest. Because the greatest competitors on earth do not just train their physical bodies relentlessly. They possess the wisdom to know precisely when to stop, when to step away from the noise, and when a moment of total silence will do more for their soul than another grueling hour on the practice court ever could. 48 hours later, hair neatly trimmed, nails freshly filed, and mind completely reset, Alex Eala boarded a flight bound for Ohio. When the official Cincinnati main draw was finally released, her name appeared in a spot that would have seemed entirely impossible a mere 12 months prior. The number 17 seed at a WTA 1000 event. This marked the highest seeding of her entire professional career at this elite level, surpassing even her impressive number 25 seeding in Toronto just days before. Standing firmly at world number 20, her ascent is staggering. Just 18 months ago, she sat quietly at number 143 in the global rankings. Let that incredible fact sink in for a moment. Climbing from 143 all the way to the top 20 in a year and a half is the exact kind of meteoric trajectory that forces seasoned tennis analysts to do a double-take. While withdrawals from higher-ranked veterans like Karolina Machova, Victoria Azarenka, and Jasmine Paolini certainly helped nudge her up the seeding list, make no mistake. This recognition was entirely earned through relentless sweat, grit, and clutch victories. Securing the number 17 seed granted her a coveted first-round bye in the expanded 96-player singles draw, giving her precious, much-needed days to recover and recharge before the main battles got underway. Running from August 13th through the 23rd in Mason, Ohio, this tournament serves as her final, ultimate major tune-up before the U.S. Open kicks off at Flushing Meadows on August 30th. Think about how far she has come. She was already cemented in history as the first Filipina ever seeded in a Grand Slam main draw at Wimbledon. She broke barriers again as the first Filipina and first Southeast Asian player in history to capture a WTA 500 title, hoisting the trophy in Washington and rocketing 8 massive spots up the rankings in a single week. And now, she is standing shoulder to shoulder with Aryna Sabalenka, Elena Rybakina, Jessica Pegula, Coco Gauff, and Madison Keys, the absolute titans of women's tennis, at one of the most prestigious hardcourt championships on the global calendar. She is no longer just a promising young talent worth keeping an unblinking eye on. She is a legitimate, seeded, flag-carrying contender. And the global tennis establishment has finally caught up to what the Filipino community has known all along. Yet, what makes this story so infinitely greater than cold, hard tennis rankings and seeding lists is the cultural heartbeat driving it. It first caught fire in Washington, where tournament chairman Mark Ein revealed that an astonishing 80 or more of all ticket inquiries were focused on one single player. One name, one inspiring woman. It exploded with unmatched fury in Toronto, where 10,000 seats vanished into thin air within 30 minutes of her match time being posted. In a move that showed deep cultural respect, tournament organizers even added authentic chicken adobo to the arena menu for the very first time in tournament history. The 10,000-seat Sobeys Stadium was draped wall-to-wall in red, white, and blue, and the thunderous chant of Eala, 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 rang out with such ferocious volume and persistence that her opponents simply could not ignore it. Belinda Bencic, the Olympic gold medalist who ultimately snapped Eala's winning streak, walked up to the microphone after her victory and graciously admitted, "I know most of you were cheering for Alex, but I have to say, it was truly amazing. Thank you so much for the incredible atmosphere." American player Katie McNally, who fell to Eala in a tough third-round battle, took to social media afterward to write, "Beyond thankful for all the love and kind messages, especially from the Filipinos. The atmosphere out there was absolutely electrifying." Coco Gauff weighed in before a ball was even struck in Toronto, noting, "The demographic that Alex is bringing to tennis is so great, and I think all of us should embrace it because we're all benefiting from it." And Jessica Pegula, after dropping a hard-fought Washington final in front of thousands of screaming, flag-waving Filipino fans, looked directly out at the roaring crowd and stated, "You guys are helping grow tennis around the world, and I really appreciate that. This isn't merely a dedicated fan base that travels well. This is a full-scale, border-crossing, arena-filling, menu-changing cultural movement. And it has officially landed in Cincinnati, Ohio." Through all of this, every echoing chant, every waving flag, every single standing ovation she receives before she has even tapped a tennis ball, Alex Eala remains completely, disarmingly grounded. "I'm kind of just a drop in the ocean when it comes to Filipinos and their pride for their culture," she said quietly following her emotional exit in Toronto. "I do a lot to represent my country, and I'm proud of it. But that stadium was full of people who do the exact same thing. That profound humility is never a rehearsed performance or a superficial media training trick. It is 100% genuine. And that authentic grace is precisely why tens of thousands of people religiously follow her from city to city, country to country, carrying heavy flags and memorizing complex tennis chants in hotel rooms late into the night. She carries far more than a graphite racket and an impressive computer ranking. She carries the resounding endorsement of sport legends, the fierce, unconditional love of an entire global diaspora, and a quiet, unshakable belief that her best tennis is still waiting down the road. Discerning sports analysts have already begun drawing historical comparisons between the Eala phenomenon and Manny Pacquiao, the legendary Filipino fighter whose championship boxing matches famously brought armed conflicts in regions like Mindanao to a temporary, peaceful halt. For a few sacred hours, an entire nation held its breath as one, with every Filipino with an internet connection locking in together. That kind of profound cultural gravity is extraordinarily rare in modern athletics, and women's tennis has quite simply never experienced anything quite like what Alex Eala is generating right now. The Eala Express has officially crossed another state line, and Ohio is next on the map. And standing right on the other side of Ohio is Flushing Meadows and the U.S. Open, the final Grand Slam showdown of the year, and the ultimate crucible where everything she has meticulously built across this grueling North American hardcourt swing will either be validated or tested in the most brutal way imaginable. She is ready. Her dedicated coaching team is ready. And an entire nation, flags packed, phones fully charged, and sleep schedules entirely wrecked, is standing right there ready with her. So, it leaves us with the ultimate question that the tennis world is chewing on right now, the one nobody can quite answer with certainty. What happens when a young woman from Manila, fresh off a painful defeat, 2 days of much-needed rest, and yes, a very necessary haircut, walks out into a buzzing Cincinnati arena, and the entire building erupts into chaos before she has even touched a single ball? What happens when a rising star stops merely rising and transforms into something entirely different? Something that defies easy labels. Something the sport of tennis has genuinely never seen before? We are about to find out together. The Eala Express is live in Cincinnati. The flags are high, the chants are primed, and the tennis world is about to witness history unfold.